Have you ever felt like you're just a small, powerless being in this vast universe? A fleeting existence bound by time, waiting for something greater to intervene? What if I told you that the same power that created and sustains the universe is not outside of you, but within? In tonight's lecture, I'm going to reveal a life-changing truth. The I Am within you is the God of Scripture. Your own consciousness is divine. By understanding this, your entire reality can transform. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll see that when you say, I am, you are invoking the very essence of God. When you hear the words God, Jehovah, or Christ, what comes to mind? Most people envision a distant, almighty being, something to be worshipped, something far greater than themselves. But what if I told you that you have been misplacing your belief? That the very power you've been searching for is, and always has been, within you. Now I'm going to share with you the profound truth. The I Am that you declare daily is none other than the God of Scripture. And if you grasp this fully, it will change everything you know about life, manifestation, and the very nature of reality. How do we know this? We'll turn to Scripture to show you undeniable proof. In the 16th chapter of Matthew, Jesus asks his disciples, "Who do men say that I am?" The responses are varied. Some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah. But then Jesus asks the most important question, "Who do you say that I am?" Peter answers, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." What does this mean, and how does it connect to you? In a few moments, I'll show you that this question is not just about a figure from the past, but is directly about you and your own identity. You see, this I Am is the key to everything. When you understand it deeply, you unlock the power and wisdom of God within yourself. But how exactly does this work? In the next part, I'm going to walk you through an ancient yet simple method to harness this truth in your daily life. One that will lead to profound changes. But first, let's return to Scripture to break down this powerful concept. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This famous passage from the book of John contains one of the most profound truths about who you really are. But what exactly is this Word? The answer lies in two simple words. I am. When you say, I am, you are not merely identifying yourself in the world. You are calling upon the divine power that created everything. This isn't just metaphorical. This is literal. God and the I Am within you are one and the same. So, when you declare I Am, you are invoking the power of creation itself. Think about that for a moment. What have you been declaring about yourself? Now, let's return to Scripture. In the 16th chapter of Matthew, Peter recognizes Jesus as the Christ, the Son of the living God. But Christ isn't something separate from you. In fact, when you speak the words I am, you are aligning yourself with Christ, with the power and wisdom of God. It's not about a historical figure. It's about your consciousness, your awareness of being. But if I am is God, why don't we see immediate results when we declare what we want? Why does it often feel like nothing changes? That's where the mystery begins to unfold. Many of us are unaware of the power we're using daily. We often say, I am, followed by limitation. I am tired. I am sick. I am not enough. And these declarations, whether conscious or not, are the creative forces shaping your reality. The key is realizing that what you attach to I am becomes your experience. So how can you shift this? How can you begin using I am to create the reality you desire? In just a moment, we'll talk about a powerful technique that Neville Goddard himself taught, the law of assumption, which takes this concept of I am and turns it into a practical method for manifesting your desires. Before we get into that, though, let's sit with this one truth. Every time you say I am, you are shaping your world. But don't worry, even if you've been using it in ways that limit you, the power to change is always available. Your reality is always in motion, always responding to the I am you believe. In the next section, we'll dive into exactly how to make sure your I am aligns with the life you truly want to live. Now that we've uncovered the power of I am, how can we make it work for us? Here's where Neville Goddard's most transformative teaching comes into play, the law of assumption. This law is simple but profound. It tells us that whatever you assume to be true will harden into fact. But there's a deeper secret to this that many people overlook, and we're about to explore it. Imagine for a moment that your deepest desire is already fulfilled. How would you feel? What would your world look like? The law of assumption teaches that in order to manifest your desires, you must assume that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is already real. This is not about hoping or wishing. It's about confidently living from the end result, as if it's already done. But here's the part most people get wrong. They assume their desires once or twice, but then doubt creeps in. They look at their current reality and think nothing has changed. They don't understand that the external world is only a reflection of past assumptions. It's like looking in a mirror and expecting it to show something different from what you believe. The trick is maintaining the assumption, even when the evidence around you says otherwise. But how do you stay faithful to your assumption when everything seems to contradict it? That's the key to this technique, and it's where most people fall short. You see, the law of assumption works not when you simply wish for something, but when you persist in assuming it's already done, no matter what the outer world shows. And in a moment, I'll share with you a method that can help you maintain your assumption, even when the world tests your faith. Before we dive into that, let's clarify one critical point. It's not about forcing the outside world to change. Instead, it's about changing your inner world, your thoughts, your beliefs, and your assumptions. Once you shift your internal state, the external world has no choice but to reflect that change. But what happens when doubt arises? How do you stay firm in your assumption when reality challenges you? That's what we'll cover in the next section, and this is where true transformation begins. So, you've made your assumption. You're living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But then, as the days go by, reality doesn't seem to reflect your new belief. Doubt begins to creep in, and you may start to think, is this really working? This is the moment where many give up. They abandon their assumption and fall back into old patterns of thinking. But here's the secret that separates those who succeed in manifesting their desires from those who don't. Persistence. Neville Goddard called it the most crucial element in the law of assumption. You must persist in your assumption, even when the outer world shows no signs of change. Think of it like planting a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust that, beneath the surface, the seed is taking root. You water it, you give it sunlight, but most importantly, you allow time for it to grow. Your assumption works the same way. The moment you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you've planted the seed. But instead of nurturing it, many people lose faith too soon. The outer world, which reflects previous assumptions, shows them no immediate results, and they abandon the new belief. They start saying things like, it's not working, or maybe this isn't for me. But in doing so, they uproot the very seed they've planted. So, how do you maintain faith when everything seems to contradict your assumption? This is where persistence truly comes into play. Remember, the outer world is only a delayed reflection of your inner state. Even if the world around you doesn't immediately mirror your new assumption, you must remain steadfast. Doubt may try to creep in, but the key is to continue assuming it's already done, just like a gardener trusts that their seed will grow. And here's the payoff. Once the external world finally catches up with your persistent assumption, it will seem like a miracle. But it wasn't magic. It was the power of your own unwavering belief. You'll look back and realize that every obstacle, every moment of doubt, was simply a test of your persistence. But what happens after you persist? What is the ultimate result? That's what we'll explore next. The final piece of the puzzle that ties everything together. Now that you understand the power of I am, the law of assumption, and the importance of persistence, what happens when you successfully apply all of these principles? Here's the beautiful truth. You unlock the full creative power of the universe within you. The moment you persist in assuming your desire is already fulfilled, regardless of what the outside world shows, you have shifted your reality from within. The world has no choice but to follow. But what does this look like in practice? Think about a time when you assumed something so strongly that it eventually came to pass, even when it seemed impossible. Maybe you believed you'd get that job, meet that person, or overcome a challenge. And eventually, it happened, perhaps even in a way that surprised you. That wasn't a coincidence. It was the law of assumption in action. When you assume something with faith and persist in that assumption, the world reshapes itself to reflect your belief. Neville Goddard teaches that we are all creators, shaping our reality with every thought, every feeling, and every assumption. The outer world is nothing more than a shadow of your inner world, and this is why it is so crucial to stay aligned with the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Even when challenges arise, even when doubt knocks at your door, remember, the process is already in motion. It's like a play being acted out on the stage of your life, and your role is to trust in the script you've written. The ultimate result of persistence is transformation. Not only will your desires manifest, but your entire understanding of reality will shift. You'll no longer be a passive participant in life, waiting for things to happen. Instead, you'll become an active creator, aware of the incredible power you wield. Imagine living in a world where you know, without a doubt, that whatever you assume with conviction will come to pass. This is the gift of persistence. And here's the final insight. When you persist in your assumption long enough, the old reality, built on doubt and limitation, falls away. A new reality, based on your faith in your I am, takes its place. This is the true ascension Neville Goddard speaks of. You rise from the limitations of the past into a life of infinite possibilities. And as you live in this new awareness, you'll realize that there was never anything outside of you. You were the creator all along. So, what have we learned tonight? The power to shape your reality lies in a simple but profound truth. The I am within you is the God of Scripture. You are not a passive being in this world. You are the creator. Through the law of assumption, you can bring any desire into reality by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But as we've explored, the key is not just in the assumption itself. It's in the persistence of that assumption. Every time you declare I am, you are setting the foundation for your experience. Whatever you attach to those words, whether it's abundance, health, love, or success, begins to materialize in your world. But it requires faith and persistence. Even when doubt arises, even when the external world seems unchanged, remember that the real work is happening within. The seed of your assumption is taking root. By embracing this understanding, you can transform your life. You're not at the mercy of circumstances, you are the creator of them. When you live from the end, assume your desires as already fulfilled, and persist in that assumption, you unlock a reality of infinite possibilities. So, I leave you with this. What will you assume about yourself today? The power is within you. Remember, your I am is your divine power. Use it wisely, use it with faith, and watch as your world begins to reflect the magnificent creator that you truly are. Now that you've learned how to harness the power of I am and the law of assumption, what are you going to manifest today? I encourage you to take a moment, reflect on what you truly desire, and begin assuming it is already yours. Drop your assumptions in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you're working on. Let's manifest together. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on manifestation, Neville Goddard's teachings, and the incredible power of your mind. And if you're ready to dive deeper into manifestation techniques, check out my next video, where I'll reveal how to use the power of imagination to accelerate your results. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Remember, everything begins with your I am. The only limit is the one you place on yourself. So keep assuming, keep persisting, and watch as your world transforms.